And y'all should be ashamed of y'allself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself.
Ain't nothing changed, nothing new here to see. This ain't nothing but some political maneuvering.
America.
Welcome to the eulogy, eat it up. It's called political buffoonery.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to This Week in DUMBmocracy, where we showcase some of the dumbest newsmakers of the week. It looks like we got a theme going this week. We're talking a lot about hot mess buffoons, the buffoons that, when all else fail, appeal to emotion when they have no arguments left and they look completely and totally stupid. Yesterday's example of that was Joe Scarborough, who had an unhinged reaction to the special counsel report concerning Joe Biden and his possession of classified documents in ripped boxes in his garage and other places, where that report discussed Biden's memory as being very poor and his portrayal as an elderly man with a poor memory being the reason why they're refusing to prosecute him. Joe Scarborough took great umbrage with that, and if you want to see what I'm talking about, that is pinned in the right-hand corner of the screen right now. You can click on that to see that video. But today, we're talking about a brand new hot mess, or should I say, an old hot mess that we discussed last year. That is the super mayor of Dolton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard. You got to see this trustees meeting that happened last week. But before we get to all the insanity of it, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the shows. And if you like what you see in here in this or any other video on this channel, smash that thumbs up button, like, comment, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff, because all that feeds the YouTube algorithm.
What? Feed me! Okay.
So like I said, late last week, there was a trustees meeting in Dolton, Illinois that Tiffany Henyard chairs, and we've discussed in prior videos, and again, that's going to be where? In the upper right-hand corner right now, where Tiffany Henyard had been pressured by media to discuss her liberal use of finances in traveling to different places and no accountability for anything that she was doing on those trips. Since that video, there have been a ton of videos on YouTube discussing Tiffany Henyard and her arrogance, her audacity in running both Dolton and the township attached to it, where she has double-dipping jobs in the area. Let's just say that this latest trustees meeting is not only more of the same, but it feels like doors are closing in for our super mayor.
WGN Investigates has an update on dysfunction in Dolton, where local leaders are fighting over transparency, spending, and safety. Now the South Suburbs' controversial mayor is firing back, and it all played out at a public meeting last night.
So if you remember from the last video we did about Tiffany Henyard, there was a big controversy from the village of Dolton about all the credit card bills she was running up on lavish travel that was unexplained and unaccounted for to Vegas and to other places.
Flashback.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Uh-oh.
What is that?
No comment.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
End of flashback.
Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet. The mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work.
Tiffany
Oh, she doesn't disappoint, does she? I mean, she's the leader. She's the only one working around here. Everybody else is doing nothing but complaining. You can see why we love featuring her on this show. She is a quintessential buffoon in power who only cares about the power, cares about being the leader, but is really not doing anything, as you'll see in the video.
Henyard considers herself something of a crusader, but one who's clearly annoyed by questions from a rebellious group of Dolton trustees.
How dare they question her about how she's running this village? How dare these trustees hold her accountable for the things that she decides to do, the places she decides to go, and all the money she decides to spend that then has to be paid by the taxpayers? It's not like they're responsible for that too, right?
Ignorant peasants.
At the end of the day, vendors are not being paid. Board approved it. The vendors are not being paid. How about you be a good leader, bring RFPs to the forefront, so not just us, but the residents and everybody else in America know how the money is being spent.
WGN Investigates has cataloged tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars spent on trips, meals, and more by Tiffany Henyard and her allies in Dolton and on the Thornton.
She has her own magazine. This woman loves her face on anything. Magazines, billboards. She's constantly trying to put herself out there as the face of the town, but all this while, she's spending all this money, all this irresponsibility, and her trustees, though they try to hold her feet to the fire, are getting nowhere with this. It's government run amok. And the people of Dolton, who, by the way, are not the richest in the world, their median income is around $25,000 a year. You gotta feel for them and all they're going through with this arrogant, audacious buffoon.
Township Board, where she's the supervisor. Township credit card records show Henyard and other officials spent more than $67,000 on trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. Many of the flights were first class.
Why should I come to my city? And why didn't I know that Tiffany Henyard was in the People's Republic of New York City? I would have gone right up to him and be like, where's the money? What'd you do with all that money? Obviously, I wouldn't have gotten an answer, but still would have been fun to do. It would have been great for you guys to see, right? Unbelievable. $67,000 on travel. That's what most people make in a year. Unbelievable. And this woman's still allowed to do all this. She's still running roughshod. It's unreal.
So were the accommodations. In Atlanta, Henyard and her team stayed at the Four Seasons Hotel, costing taxpayers more than $9,000. In New York, the bill came to $13,000.
Excuse me? A baking powder?
Must be nice. Must be nice. It's good to be the mayor. It's good to be the super mayor. $13,000 on hotels in New York City. Now, I understand New York City hotels are expensive, but that's beyond.
Henyard has refused to explain the specific purpose of the trips or why they travel in such style, but she appeared to refer to our reporting at Monday's Dolton meeting.
But everything we do for the people. But we under attack. We getting scrutinized in the media. For what? Loving on the people? Showing them that they matter to us? We going through the fires for y'all.
How is spending $67,000 on travel loving for the people? I need an explanation on that. I need some clarification on that point. You're doing it all for the people. What are you doing exactly? Can you let us in on this? Is it a secret? Is it like a surprise party or something? Can you let us in on what you're doing for the people in Portland or in Atlanta or in New York City? Let us know what you're doing. You know, it would help out a little bit in understanding this whole scenario here.
Henyard calls her critics grandstanders who should get in line.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all black. Y'all are black. And y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman.
What? What did she just say what I...
And we've crossed into the race card. She's using the race card against other black people. This is a first for me. I've never seen this before. You can use the race card on other black people?
Anything is possible.
She's also using the gender card. She's a black woman being attacked by other black people. Clearly, this is egregious, according to Tiffany Henyard. Again, I don't make the rules. I just try to follow along. But if the super mayor says so, then I guess I got to go along with it. How dare they do what they're doing in asking for bills and receipts and accountability? Just doesn't seem right to do to a fellow member of their race. Oh, wait, hold on a minute. It doesn't freaking matter. You've been given a public trust, a responsibility to answer to the people. These are the people you need to answer to. This is going beyond hot mess into the realms of sort of the irredeemables that we talk about in my book, which, by the way, is Schnooks, Crooks, Lies, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons that's available right now on Amazon, at Barnes & Noble, and other online bookstores. When it's all said and done, I firmly believe, and call this a prediction, whatever you want, that Tiffany Henyard is going to fall and fall hard after all this. You can't be this loud, can't be this arrogant, can't refuse to cooperate for this long and not have investigations crop up, not have other people trying to perform oversight. Something is going to come out in the wash, and the fall is going to be precipitous here. And Tiffany Henyard is going to be a footnote in history eventually. But until then, we have her around for our entertainment purposes, to play the race card against other people of her racial background, to fail to take accountability, flat out deny spending money on the credit cards and all that, and just be an entertaining hot mess of a buffoon. Like what you see so far? Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Also, leave us a comment and tell us what you're thinking. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another show.
Dolton's difficulties got worse in recent weeks with water main breaks. Henyard blames on trustee budget cuts. Then 4 people were shot and injured last week, leaving nerves frayed and Henyard's opponents pointing out her sizable security detail.
So obviously all that spending that went to the lavish travel and hotels could have gone to public works to fix dangerous water mains and things like that. But also the use of the police as her personal security when she's traveling during the day has become a point of controversy as well for Henyard. Hundreds of hours of overtime going to a couple police officers who were just around her at all times.
The officers are paid every 2 weeks, which without overtime is 80 hours. But when they're put on Henyard's detail, that 80 hours balloons to well over 100 hours, sometimes 200 hours. And in the case of Officer Terry Young last May, 303 hours worked over a 2-week period. That resulted in a single paycheck of more than $13,000.
How does a person put in a 2-week pay period, 303 hours? That's impossible. That's impossible.
336
Does he never
hours.
go to sleep?
Is pretty wasteful when considering that there are crime issues that are not being addressed in Dolton. Obviously, you'd want those police out on the streets serving and protecting the public, not just a single person.
It's unfortunate that politics are being played, but what has happened is $1 million out of my budget has been cut because of politics.
So that's interesting. The now chief of Dolton is complaining about a budget cut. And I think that budget cut was aimed at Henyard's use of police as private security to try to get her to stop using those officers for hundreds of hours of overtime that the city clearly cannot afford just for her to have, and to persuade her to have those officers back on the beat protecting the village. But I guess Tiffany Henyard did not get that message, and the police is now having to do more with a whole lot less.
We're not saying the police is not doing a good job. What we're saying is you're assigning all of them to be with you when they should be out here protecting the residents so we can all feel safe.
That's kind of what I just said, so I guess I got that one right. Look, nothing's changed with Tiffany Henyard. She's still the same buffoon, but it feels like the walls are closing in a little bit. We're seeing more and more rancor and discontent in these trustees meetings. They're getting bolder and bolder. In the meantime, while she's spending all this money, vendors aren't getting paid, the police budget's getting slashed, public works are having to suffer, there's more crime not being addressed in the area. But hey, Tiffany Henyard gets to have her lavish meals, travel to New York, spend 13 grand on hotels, travel to Atlanta, drop another 10 grand or so, and just go around because she's loving on the people. She's doing it all for the people without telling the people exactly what she's doing.
There may be honor among thieves, but there's none in politicians.
This is the quintessential hot mess that is morphing into more irredeemable levels of buffoonery discussed in my book, including the hypocrite and also the radioactive, because this is surely going to infect everybody in her orbit. All the people supporting her in government, all the cronies, all the lackeys, all the people on the dole, like those police officers who are getting all that sweet overtime. And sooner or later, there's going to be a big fall here.
Pride goeth before a fall.
It may be in the next upcoming election, or it may be in the form of an investigation. Who knows? There's so much buffoonery going on with Tiffany Henyard. It's sort of like the tennis ball machine theory of politics I've talked about in previous videos, where there is so much buffoonery coming at us that we can't serve it back over the net all the time. There's too many things to talk about when it comes to Tiffany Henyard. Luckily, the internet is forever, and there are a great many YouTube channels out there, including Actual Justice Warrior, Nate the Lawyer, and many others that have really shined the light on Henyard. And I think because of that, because of WGN, because of YouTube, because of channels like this and other channels out there, I think her days are numbered. But listen, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments about Tiffany Henyard and these latest antics and buffoonery. I want to know what you think about the out-of-control spending, the consequences to the public of all this, and what you would do in order to get her out of office. Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Let's keep the conversation going to talk about Tiffany Henyard and every other hot mess buffoon out there this week in DUMBmocracy.
All views and opinions expressed here are not necessarily of the mainstream media and may offend some listeners. It's called political buffoonery.